Hey everyone, welcome to another exciting episode of the Scratch the Track podcast presented by the Dude Room Show and co-produced by Mr. IVEST. I am the Dude.
And I am Grim. And today we are going to talk Spoon. And we are going to ask, Gimme Fiction.
Gimme.
Ask them to give me fiction? I
don't know. Yeah. Well,
now, my favorite Spoon album, for sure.
Oh, well, I'm glad we covered that because I was going to ask you. So.
Yeah. It was the first one I really got into. I think around the time Mr. IVEST kind of was running me down about these cats. Another good friend of the show, Leifer, had hit me to some of their tunes too off Kill the Moonlight, which I really liked. But then this one was the first one that I think I had the whole album, and you just listen to it, and I really.
You were able to. You weren't just picking songs off LimeWire. You got.
I was really able to digest it, as people might say. Yes.
Interesting. So that is so it's fair to say this is the one you started with, right? I mean, this is it.
Yeah, really.
Which is interesting. I mean, it's their being their fifth album, and I guess, okay, what, 2005? So yeah, it probably had, did you get into it kind of like right when it came out?
Yeah, I guess it must have been, yeah, because, we were still with everybody, and
yeah,
so it must have been, right around the time it came out. But then, I mean, right around that time too, I got a copy of Kill the Moonlight and a copy of Girls Can Tell, and so it was kind of like three of them. I never did much with a series of Sneaks or Telefono.
But, or All the Negatives Have Been Destroyed.
Yeah.
Those are ones I haven't gotten into really as well. But, dude, Girls Can Tell, which we've previously done an episode on. So if you guys want to go ahead and check that out.
Yeah, please do it below.
If you guys are Spoon fans. I would say, the top albums for me are Girls Can Tell, Gimme Fiction. I like Transference a lot. And I would say, and actually They Want My Soul. I don't know, man.
Not a Gaga person, huh? I actually missed you. Gaga.
No, I like it, but I don't, for me, I just don't put it in that realm of kind of those other albums, dude. Also, even it's weird, man. Kill the Moonlight, like I like some songs off of it, but I just never had like maybe my time with that album. For
dude,
some reason.
There's a lot of tracks I really like off it, but there's some other I would not put that in my top 3 probably.
Okay.
Which I'm sure a lot of fans, I'm sure they're going to tell us below when they do.
Like, subscribe, and comment below.
But I just, that one never grabbed me the same.
Yeah. So this was their 5th studio album, released May 10th, 2005. Now, dude, I would say Spoon is kind of an interesting band for me because, and I don't know if you share these sentiments. I don't know if anything ever really like stands out to me, like instrumentation, like, oh man, that I don't know, there's parts and things that I like, but I'm just like, oh my god, that there's just some exceptional musicianship there or something. I like the way it all comes together.
I think that's a very fair way to say it.
Yeah. Now, one thing I would love, and I know you would love this too, dude, I think Britt Daniel and Neil Young need to start a band together where all they do is just solo. That's it. That's it.
Yeah, back and forth.
I mean, here's the thing. It fits when Britt Daniel does it, but it's so like, it's that machine like scratchy quality that.
And Neil Young kind of invented that. I mean,
he did. He did. Yeah. And I think they're both very excellent guitar players, but when it comes to their solo, like I just listened when I was listening to this album again, like it had been a while since I just sat down and listened to it, all the way through track by track. And there's just so many of those sections throughout these songs where it's just like, it's literally like trying not to play a guitar solo like smooth, right? Like there's just like not a smooth guitar solo. I don't know if there is one on this album.
You know what? And there doesn't need to be, but I know what you mean.
No.
It's really funny like that. But I kind of get why, because that becomes it becomes such a cliche after, what you're really going to do it in every song?
Just going to shred, man.
Yeah. You can't do it.
Cool. Yeah. It's been done. So let's just go the complete opposite way. Right.
Yeah. Not every song can be China Cat Sunflower.
No, it can't. There's not, I didn't find a ton of information out there, but there was an interview, a really good interview that Britt Daniel did with NPR.
Thanks for sending that, by the way, there, Palerino.
You're welcome. And the interview was actually, I think it was conducted for the 10th anniversary of this album. So it was pretty recent. Well,
I wonder if that's,
I would say pretty recent, 2015. Well, the deluxe or Normo Dome edition, the CD one comes with demos of all the tracks on it. So unless that comes with a second disc, I don't know if it's on there, but at least streaming and I believe on CD it probably came out. But some things that I did find out about it was kind of like after Kill the Moonlight. He went, I don't know who Dave Clouden is, but Britt got a letter from him and said, hey, you want to come hang out at my beach house in San Diego for basically, it sounded like it was like just an open invitation and just like work on stuff. I mean, dude, that would be cool. I wish I had somebody just saying, hey, I know you're working on this project. Do you want to come to my beach house for as long as you want and just work on your craft?
Just take some time. Take some time.
Clear your head. And it's funny though, because he even said though that like while he did there and he worked on stuff, he didn't really feel happy about what he came up with. Mm-hmm. So, originally the album was supposed to be called the Beast and Dragon Adored. I like Gimme Fiction.
I do too.
Basically, he said he just wanted to find a title with the word "gimme" in it. So, and "Gimme Shelter" was already taken. I mean, at least as a song and a documentary.
Great documentary. Yeah, great song.
Yeah, and man. So I don't know. There's not a ton of info.
I know that's one thing that's a bummer. I wish that people would do more. Like, it'd be so sweet if there was a 10-minute video out there, just them like working in the studio and doing stuff with it. Like those are cool videos to watch.
I mean, from reading the interview with him, the way I kind of sort of understood the recording process to go. Some bands, when they're trying to figure it out, they're like, oh, well, we'll just go in the studio and we'll just
come up with it,
jam and come up with stuff and everything. It sounded like they really got together and kind of fleshed out, I think, a lot of the songs before actually going into the studio and being like, hey, we're going to put this down on tape.
I think that makes sense, honestly.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, it still leaves, you're not locked in, but at least, I know we've talked about this before, how, like Led Zeppelin with Stairway and stuff like that. Like if you just go in and you're like, hey, I came up with this part and I'm going to put it down and this is what it is, and then further down the road, it kind of evolves a little bit and you kind of start throwing in little flourishes and pieces that you just kind of come up with. And so
it's like
you're just like literally record.
Songs.
Yeah, if you're just recording in the studio and be like, oh, this sounds good and put it down, it's nice, I think, to kind of flesh it out a little bit. And I think at least practicing or having a little rehearsal allows you to do that.
Well, yeah, because I guess from the perspective of if somebody came up with a song, right, and you're in the band, I guess I'd want at least a stab at the part before it's like go time.
Yeah, I would too.
I don't know. But yeah, I was kind of bummed out.
Recording.
Yeah. There's just not enough information about this. That interview is good. I did think the interview was pretty good. But again, it doesn't get tech. I like the technical parts of it. You know?
I mean, there were a few things here and there, but nothing.
Yeah, nothing overly.
Like, yep.
So,
but I think why don't we get into the tracks, because there is some stuff as we go through the tracks that's associated with them that we'll just be able to kind of, give our input on. So we will go with
which
track
is
number 1.
quite valuable.
Yeah, the Beast
And Dragon Adored.
Adored. Dude, yeah, I thought it was trippy just how the sort of title of this came about. How it was like his grandma had an art book, and this was like a tapestry or something in it, and there was like a photo, and it was titled Apocalypse: The Beast and the Dragon Are Adored.
Yeah, now that sounds pretty interesting. I'd love to see a picture of that, but I think that I don't know, it was sort of that ominous feeling. I feel like the song does a good job at conveying that, even just with the sound of it.
Yeah, it's interesting because I feel like, at least in the beginning, and so I do love how it kind of comes in and then it punches. It's
those
just got
heavy dot, like the real low piano notes.
I feel like though throughout the first part of the song, and you can almost say throughout the whole song, like it's almost trying to like find its footing a little bit. There's something when I'm listening to it, almost something a little just kind of uneasy, and the instruments are almost finding a way to kind of like mesh together a little bit.
Yeah. And with a lot of like,
it's just, yeah. I mean, there's just some weird stuff. But dude, did you ever hear, and did you read this, how like in the beginning, he had a clip of his ex-girlfriend, Eleanor Feinberger.
Yeah.
And how she sings, there's something he put in the left channel, like way off in the distance. And it's her singing The Hardest Thing I've Ever Done. And I know there's like in the beginning of it, when you start listening to it, I always heard there was like some stuff going on. I could never really figure it out. But once I read that and I listened to it in the left channel, I was like, oh wow, yeah, I hear it now.
That's really cool. Yeah, I didn't re-listen to it just with that in mind, but next time I'm quite sure I will.
Definitely do it.
But yeah, I thought that was pretty interesting too, and I think that one other thing I believe he talked about with this one was like the whole idea of the apocalypse and like where he was growing up. Like people were like excited about it because they're like, then we get to go to heaven, Yeah.
And
he's kind of. That was my mathematical mind. I'm sorry. That was.
Well, he references in there. But the apocalypse theme, and this idea kind of plays throughout. It definitely
of
does.
like this is, and everyone's so excited about it.
Yeah. So moving on to track number 2, The Two Sides of Monsieur, Valentin. Monsieur. Dude, I like this song a lot. I like the energy that it brings, and it is a little more, it's more of a straightforward song. It's not as kind of like all over the place. Dude, it's got, I mean, the piano adds, I guess, another like nice texture to it. It's got violin section in it. Like, the acoustic and electric sort of stay in rhythm and whatnot.
One thing I like with the piano, and this is in more than one place, is how they will use it solely for single notes as opposed to always playing like chords and big melodical runs. It's just interesting because you hear so much more of the texture of the instrument audibly when it's just like a small run or a big note, or you know what I mean?
Yeah, they'll just hit it sometimes. They'll punch it, right? Like it is cool. It's not like, they're not doing these crazy like piano flourishes and things like that, or but yeah, it's pretty cool. And go ahead.
No. I wouldn't dare. I wouldn't think of it.
Stepping on my words. But the kind of like the idea of it, how he kind of started or the song about every morning I pick up the cans, but he like didn't want to write about that necessarily.
About drinking too much. Yeah. Now it's funny because I don't know if there's there's not a lyric sheet right when you open the gatefold, but I never, for as much as I've listened to the album, I can't say that I've ever gone and, oh yeah, there's a lyric sheet inside. I can't say that I've ever read the lyrics. But I always thought he said every morning I put on the pants.
He actually says is every morning I've got a new chance.
Well, that's in the next verse, right?
No, that's how it starts.
Oh, okay. So it's
and then the second verse is every morning I pull on them pants.
Oh, so I was right. Okay.
in the second verse.
In the second verse, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So I get it. So the cans was like the line that he came up with that first, but he was like, it's a little.
Yeah, I don't want to sing about that, so I'm going to sing about the Duchess and the Duke.
I love that he just wants to learn the part of Eddie in The Stranger Day. Like that's an interesting, weird reference that I've always liked, and that's the whole bit of this song. I think is really cool like that. It just it's kind of weird, but it's fun. It's fun to follow.
Yeah. Well, moving on to track 3, one of probably, I mean, you could say if it's not their most popular, it's one of their most popular songs.
I know, and it's kind of a shame because
turn my camera on.
It's basic to the point where it is. I like it. I like the feel of it. I always have, but
it's different. It's very different. It's funky. It's a funky song. The bass kind of drives the song along and everything, and it's just I don't know. It is different. It's not. Here's the thing. When I think of Spoon, this isn't the song that I think of. It's not. I mean, I know it because it's popular. It's a single. But in my mind, if I'm characterizing, Spoon as a band, there's a lot of other songs that I put above this.
Interested to hear what your scratch is going to be. But I absolutely agree with that. I would do the same thing. It's just, it's like they say, there's like the one that the fans like and the one that made him popular, that kind of whole business.
Well, dude, it's funny that this came out in 2005 because like basically what he's saying in the song and what he says in the interview is basically instead of people like going out and engaging in the world, you're like holding up your camera. Or now, I mean, dude, that's before like, everybody had an iPhone and a camera phone. You could take movies and post to TikTok and Instagram and Facebook and go live on YouTube, have a podcast. But dude,
with a big following.
It is interesting. I mean, he's basically a prophet is what I'm saying.
Well, yeah, but I think these sort of themes are something that every generation sees, and it's just like more horrifying to the next generation. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because now I would say this. It's like I remember once going to a bar with you several years ago, and I looked around, and I don't think I had a smartphone yet, and everybody was on their phone in the whole place. People sitting at tables, and it was mind-numbing to me because I thought to myself, no one is actually here right now. They're all like channel surfing life.
Yeah, pretty much. They are. Well, it's like, dude, you go out to a restaurant, man, you see that couple and they're like sitting next to you, dude, and they're like both on their phone. It's like, dude,
that's not good. We don't do that when we go out. Like I purposely put it away. Like the whole point is to not do that. I can do that anytime.
Exactly. Purpose is to drink and get hammered. That's what the purpose is. So, all right. So let's get mathematical,
social
Monsieur
studies.
Valentin, dude. Social studies, dude. My mathematical mind. This is like one of my favorite Spoon songs.
And I like that because sometimes I feel like, and I think people would feel like this. Many gentlemen might feel like this in a relationship where like you're the analytical, logical person. It just
100%.
Yeah.
And it's hard because you're always right. So.
Well, don't say that one too loud.
Let
us know below how that goes. Let's we're gonna do that. Comment below with that one.
Subscribe.
Take a poll on that
because I want to know how that one goes specifically. And if you're not met with a big fat, what the fuck is that shit?
But dude, I love the way this song starts, man. The dun, 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 and then boom, you're like, it's so great.
It is. And is it a lawnmower starting in the beginning?
Dude, I don't know. Something is starting in the beginning. And I mean, it sounds cool.
It does. One thing I think that was interesting is he specifically referenced like holding on to this bass note with some basic just chord changes on top of it that was reminiscent to him or influenced by Vince Guaraldi.
Vince Guaraldi. Yeah. Guaraldi.
A lot of
I did read that.
Yeah, and that just brings me to
of
like Wes Anderson. Now, I will say he was not underrepresented on the new release of the soundtrack. I think his stuff was made loud and clear. It's just some of the other stuff they didn't put on that soundtrack.
Wait, on what soundtrack? What are you talking about?
Royal Tenenbaums.
Oh,
Isn't there a ton of Vince Guaraldi on there?
I think he's got a couple of tracks. He's got, but Mark Mothersbaugh is the one who like composed all the stuff for the movie.
Yeah, I know that, but I just thought that he had a couple tracks. He was not underrepresented.
Yeah, no, I think he does. I think Nico's got a few too.
Nico is definitely well represented.
Yeah,
I mean, not John Lennon, but
no.
Anyway,
this is what you're talking about, though. I mean, dude, some great lines. I want to change your ways. I'm gonna get it right one of these days.
Yeah.
Bringing about the apocalypse is not considered cool. It's just like, I like his pushback on that. It's like, dude, okay, let's not celebrate that.
Yeah, I agree with that, and it was funny. He must have just like grown up in a seriously sort of, closed evangelical community. But
yeah. Moving on to The Delicate Place.
I always really loved how Mathematical Mind ends in such sort of a heavier bit, and this comes in. Yeah. It sounds very warm.
Dude, a real change of pace for the album. Yeah. It is. It starts off pretty stripped down.
Like, yeah, I know. That's what I like about it.
But it does, like, it picks up and instruments start to fill in, and then it sort of peaks, and then it kind of
goes back to where it started.
Yeah. Comes full circle.
Jack, yeah. Uh-huh. And it's kind of, it seems fairly obvious what it's about. And it's funny. He said, reading the interview, that he was almost sort of disgusted with some of the lyrics because he thought they were, he said, grossly sexual. I would have used overtly, but I get it, but I don't think that they are. I think it's said in a roundabout enough way where it's certainly not crass or crude or anything.
Yeah. I've heard worse.
Oh yeah. If you want to see worse, I would recommend listening to the song "Cock in My Pocket" by Iggy and the Stooges. That one is quite a bit more overt than this. If you want something for contrast,
dude, I'd love to do a solid comparison.
You will really love. I wish I could. I wish we had time to go through all the lyrics of it because it's pretty amazing.
Yeah. So what? Where's the flip on the record? Is it Sister Jack?
It's after Sister Jack.
Okay. Yeah. So last track on vinyl. So the last track on side one is Sister Jack. And dude, he said that this initially started off, he had it written as a piano ballad. Yeah. And actually you can hear that. So in the demo. So if you listen to the demo, okay. I guess it's kind of like the piano version of it. But then he said there were ultimately like 10 versions they had, and the one they went with was kind of based off "And Your Bird Can Sing" by the Beatles.
Yeah, and I can see that now that once they said that, you can kind of hear where there is some similarity there. I didn't think that though when I first listened to the album.
Yeah, no, I didn't either, dude. Upon listening to it this time, dude, it reminded me almost of, and this is not, well, maybe it will be a criticism of Spoon. Dude, it reminded me kind of like a 90s, like soft indie rock song, like the Gym Blossoms would do. Like, and we could drive around this town.
Yeah, okay.
Or something,
nice pull on the Gym Blossoms, yeah.
Like it just had that sort of like feel to me. So that's what I'd say. But,
dude, that's funny. I wish I knew what I wish I knew what the lyrics were about, because it doesn't really go into that.
Yeah, I'd have to do a deep dive. But I haven't done that.
That's okay. It's okay.
And this certainly isn't the time for it. But if someone out there knows, please let us know.
Oh, below. Yeah.
Like, subscribe, and comment below.
Yeah.
So you flip the record now. Now, I think, dude, I Summon You and The Delicate Place are both very much cut from the same cloth.
Okay.
The way they sound, the way they build. There's just some interesting lines in here that I always liked. Is Remember the Weight of the World.
Some really good
It's a
lines.
sound that we used to buy on cassette and 45.
Yeah. Yeah. The strapped up soldiers would
Dude,
lock you in a
800
cage.
miles is a drive. I mean, come on, you know.
Dude, this has always been one of my favorite songs on the album. I just love
me too.
I love in the beginning, just the way he starts strumming with the acoustic guitar. It just sounds really good.
I should have grabbed the guitar, but I think I can tell you without even putting it down that the chord that he hangs on is a C major 7, and that because he doesn't have the top note played, and it has this sort of interesting open. Especially on the guitar, because by doing that, you actually release a string. So there's more open strings than not, which gives it a different sort of a sound when you strum it. Yeah. Because it's not at all like muted or but the strumming sounds really thick, and I always that really got me.
Yeah. Yeah, I like it. I like the way he sings the song. I also like how he mixes up kind of singing straight and falsetto.
Yeah, I was just going to say that, where he's like you in a cage.
Yeah. Remember the weight of the world. Yeah. That's pretty solid. So, dude, The Infinite Pet.
Yeah.
Dude, Britton, like in the 2015 interview, he was like, "Yeah, this song isn't one of my favorites."
Yeah, which I thought was interesting, but I like it when people say that, because I feel like everyone has their own. Like, dude, that's his scratch.
Yeah,
that's
his
scratch.
Your own album. That's good for you, man.
Yeah, and if you're listening, I mean, dude, please, God, but
feel free to scratch.
Yeah. But yeah, this one to me has a different sound and feel than a lot of the album. It to me, it's kind of an outlier. I don't know why I would say that, but I just feel that way.
Yeah, to me, it's just a really different type of song. It has sort of a serious tone. I mean, I like it, but it's definitely an outlier. And I think I have another outlier or two coming up. But yeah, I think I do. But dude, did you hear like the title of the song came from, it's like a story he heard from a friend who was having a conversation with one, and they were talking about a pet, and his friend just said like, "Oh, the infinite pet." And so like for some reason that like it's a weird thing, but it always stuck with Brit. And so then he like saw the friend years later and told him like, "Hey, yeah, I wrote this song and I called it The Infinite Pet because that one time you like said that." The person was like, "I don't know what you're talking about." So they didn't remember that. Which is, I don't know, an interesting thing to remember. But.
You know, to come back to Wayne's World, that's when just say thank you.
Thank you.
You know?
I love you, man.
Yeah.
All right. Was it you? Was it you?
Yeah, the next two to me feel very similar, much like I Summon You and Delicate Place, dude. There's the way the bass line really pushes the whole song. And this one I like because it's a little more like beat driven and sticky, because there's breaks. Yeah. It's not so smooth and just driving, but there's similarities in how they're like, you know, structured, I guess.
Yeah. But it was funny, man. What was I gonna say? When, you know, he said he like started writing the song, and he had like, you know, he was like doing it on his acoustic, and he had a few verses, and then like he just couldn't, like, just nothing was coming. And I think it was like one day he was like at the end of, you know, nothing really happened, and he was like, "Oh, I'm gonna have a few beers, change the mood up a little bit," and he started to have a little more fun. And then, dude, he like totally, instead of keeping acoustics on, he's like, "Yeah, make it a dance thing." And he said he actually likes the demo version better because he's like, it's grittier and it's more direct. But when I listened to it this time, and the intros, so there's another song, and it kind of reminded me of that a little bit. And I was waiting for like that song to come in, and it was, dude, the song You Got Lucky by Tom Petty, which is, the song where it goes, like,
yeah.
like they're like they both have like this little sort of almost like a little drum intro or something, and then I was expecting that to come in kind of. So
That's
it was just kind of funny.
Yeah,
it didn't.
Yeah, it did.
It didn't.
It's funny, I didn't think of, but it does kind of have a very similar sort of dance beat to like I Turn My Camera On, in a way. The way the beat kind of moves, but I always like this one more because I think the bass, there's just more to the bass line. It's more interesting to listen to, and I like the way he sings it too. Who was it that we saw that night? Was it you?
Was it you? Was it you? Was it me? Was it you?
Now
it is, dude. It definitely has some I Turn My Camera On.
Yeah. Now, one of my favorites, maybe my second favorite on the album. It's tough. It's tough, dude. They Never Got You. Now, I think with the way the storm is, this is definitely their Admiral Halsey, Uncle Albert. The way they have the rain and the storm in there. But no, I anytime that somebody uses ambient life sounds, there's just something I just really like about that, and this is really one of those.
Well, Britt Daniels said that he actually felt that this is a song they could have done better with. He said it should have had more soul. He actually said, dude, ironically enough, like this was inspired by Danzig.
Yeah, that's funny. I wouldn't have thought that, but it's awesome to read that and be like, dude, I don't know how that worked, but I really like the result.
Well, it was more, he said, I think Glenn Danzig had an interview and was like, gosh, I was with these guys and they just never understood like what I was trying to do. And that's what Britt Daniel kind of like related to. He said like with his first band, he felt like he just didn't fit in, and the guys like he was with just kind of didn't understand like what he was trying to do, what he was trying to be, and the music and everything he was trying to make. So that's kind of like where I think the inspiration.
Oh, that's interesting, because I would have taken it like they never, like you were being chased, but they never got you. That was always sort of the frame of mind because it has that like you're running away,
Yeah. Exactly. Like you're in it. Yeah.
That's really cool though. I like that way a bit better. But this is one of my favorite, and I don't know if they used an actual. It sounds like it was a analog mellotron that they used, but they had some keyboard that was like simulating those. Unless it was an actual, I guess it could have actually been the cello. Yeah, 2 and 11.
Okay, I did know that too, because I was like, the song builds up and with these strings, but I imagine it's like a synth, right? I mean,
oh, it doesn't. You know what? No one's listed for playing strings on 10. That's really interesting to me. It just says keyboards, but it sounds like it's supposed to be like what it reminds me of is the Mellotron cello. That's like kind of what they use on Airbag. I think they use that on Airbag. I don't know if it's a real one, because I know they use Mellotron the rest of the album. Yeah, but that's and I always like that, and I always wondered because they use sort of that a lot. Because one of the things that it says he uses is a flute patch in one of the songs, which the Mellotron flutes, like Strawberry Fields Forever intro.
Yes,
Mellotron flutes. Yeah.
I got it. So Merchants of Soul, last track, Graham.
Mm-hmm.
He says that this is sort of a predecessor to They Want My Soul.
Yeah.
Would make sense. It would make sense. Mm-hmm. Yeah. He also said it was kind of like about an imaginary, like wild night on the town. And he even said though that he didn't think it was like a good song to sort of end the album with. He was like, it doesn't really tie the room together. It's kind of pretty much what he said.
I think They Never Got You would have almost been a better one to end with, but I like Merchants of Soul just as well. Always been one of my favorites on the album.
Okay.
I always thought it was about drug dealers. Like, you know what I mean? Merchants is so like that.
I mean, dude, Wild Night on the Town. You know?
Yeah, I know. That's kind of what yeah.
Yeah.
But
yeah, cocaine's a hell of a drug.
they'll take your soul and leave mine. Leave mine. Leave mine.
Yeah.
But yeah, it does come to a very abrupt end.
It does. It does. And speaking of coming to an end.
Well, before we do that.
This is the point. Yeah.
This is the point, but I want to know what your favorite one is.
Oh, it's probably between I Summon You and Mathematical Mind, depending on the day of the week.
Okay. Fair.
Yep. You. What do you got?
Beast and Dragon and They Never Got You. Or was it you sometimes? Ooh, I don't know. There's a lot of them on here I like. I mean, let's just say that record's been played. It's not mint anymore. It's been played quite a few times.
No, it's not mint. All right. So who's scratching first, Grim? I don't remember who did Ram.
I don't either. I think you did Ram.
I think you.
Oh.
That's okay. I don't know. Go for it.
All right.
Let's go.
Dude, I'm going with Brent Daniels. I've always thought to myself I would have scratched The Infinite Pet.
Okay.
It just, it's like I don't hate the song or anything. I'm certainly not going to pull up the needle over it, but that would be the one I could do without. I could skip.
It is kind of a weird. It's a weird song.
Yeah.
And this song or this album has maybe some weird moments or some interesting moments, but that song, like the whole song, I feel like so, dude, I'm actually gonna go with Sister Jack.
Really?
It's this kind of straightforward song that I'm just like, it doesn't do anything for me, and I like I Summon You. So I'll just go, man. For some reason, and I know I've talked about this with Mr. IVEST as well, but I always liked that line in Sister Jack when he said, I was in this drop D metal band we called Requiem. Like that. I don't know why. That's just a funny line. That is. It's funny.
And they do that, dude. They do the sounds in that for the solo, but in this one, they reverse them.
Whoa.
Yeah, I know. So it's like trippy. Instead of just it's like it just kind of comes in. It's a different attack.
Oh, Sister Jack with a different attack. So, well, everyone, let us know below what your favorite song is. What song you guys would scratch? Like that's how it's played. Okay,
subscribe, and comment
just
below.
let us know. All right.
Yep.
I know it's a great album. We love it too. But if there was one you had to do it, gun to your head, what would you do? So,
or even just ask normally, which one?
Yeah. I don't even own a gun, let alone many guns that would necessitate an entire rack.
We're not condoning such things. So, with that said, if you haven't given it a listen, I'm sorry, but you're welcome. Here you go.
All right, time to go. The Dude and Grim Show.
Scratch a Track is produced by the Dude and Grim. Additional music provided by More. That's ... MORE and the Tims TIMNZ. Copyright 2020. The Dude and Grim Show.